Hey friends, how's it going? Welcome back to Wordly Wise Book 5. Today you are joining me to start a brand new lesson, Lesson 9. Today let's start this lesson with Day 1. In today's lesson, we will need Word List 9. We will look at and talk about the words and their different meanings. So make sure that you have Lesson 9's word list ready. Great. The first word is absurd. Absurd has an adjective meaning. We use this word to describe things which are so unreasonable as to be laughable, foolish, or silly. This little bicycle is absurd. You'd look absurd in a suit and tie at the beach, right? Give me one more example of something which is absurd. This is absurd. Great. The next word is accomplish. Accomplish. Accomplish has a verb meaning. To accomplish something is to do something by making an effort. To complete successfully. I know I will accomplish these errands by noon. I will successfully complete them. He accomplished his goal of climbing to the top of the mountain. Accomplishment is a different form of the word with a noun meaning. Accomplishment is the name of something requiring skill and determination that is completed successfully. Anne Sullivan's great accomplishment was to teach a child who was deaf and blind to speak and to read. Wow. That's a very big accomplishment. What is your biggest accomplishment? Give me a sentence. My greatest accomplishment is... Nice. Next, it's ascend. To ascend is to rise, usually in a steady way. The rocket ascended to a height of 500 feet before falling to Earth. The plane is ascending to 4,000 feet. Ascend. Next, it's dense. Dense has 1, 2, 3 adjective meanings. Remember, adjective is a describing word. So the first adjective, dense, is a word we use to describe things which are tightly packed, crowded close together. The tired explorers hacked their way through the dense vines and bushes to reach the coast. Tightly packed. So bushes can be very dense. The second meaning is thick. So it's a synonym for thick. If something is dense, it is thick, hard to see through. At the airport, there was such a dense fog that planes couldn't take off. See, this is a very dense fog. It's very thick, difficult to see through. The third meaning is a synonym for stupid, thick-headed. So we use this word to describe people. So if someone is dense, they're stupid, they're thick-headed. I don't want to seem dense, but I don't understand your question. So it's a nice way of telling someone they're stupid. You are dense, ma'am. Or, I feel dense today. Next, it's experiment. Now, experiment has a noun and 2 verb meanings. The noun experiment is the name of a test to prove or discover something. The experiment shows that oxygen and hydrogen combine to form water. An experiment. I'm too dense to perform experiments like this. The verb experiment is to carry out experiments, is to do it. Benjamin Franklin experimented with a kite to show that lightning was a form of electricity. The second verb meaning, to experiment, is to try out new ideas or activities. A good cook experiments with different herbs and spices to create new dishes. Is there something that you experiment with to try new ideas? Maybe you experiment with what you wear. You wear interesting new hats and glasses. You experiment with that. You can experiment with exercise. You try new, different, interesting kinds of exercises. Name something which you experiment with. I experiment with. Great. Next, it's flimsy. Flimsy has two adjective meanings. We use flimsy first to describe something which is easily damaged or broken, not strongly made. It's flimsy. The cart was too flimsy to carry such heavy load. The second meaning for flimsy is a word we use to describe something which is not believable. Saying you lost your pen is a flimsy excuse for not doing your homework, right? Why didn't you do your homework? I lost my pen. The dog ate my homework. Someone stole my book. That's a flimsy excuse. This is a very flimsy chair. Name one other thing that you can see around you that could be flimsy. I see a very flimsy table. If you put too much heavy things on it, it could break. Next, it's heroic. Heroic also has two adjective meanings. First, heroic is a word used to describe someone who is very brave, showing great courage, heroic. The teenager dove into the pond and made a heroic rescue of the child who couldn't swim. The second adjective meaning for heroic is a word we use to describe things which shows a great determination, requiring enormous effort. Firefighters made a heroic effort to put out the blaze. So they showed a lot of determination. Someone else who is heroic in this way is a doctor. The doctor showed an heroic effort to save the young child. Who do you know who is heroic? The police officer who saved the baby from the house fire is very heroic. Next, it's lumber. Lumber has a noun and verb meaning. The noun lumber is the name of wood that has been sawed into boards, like this. This is lumber. You have ordered the lumber for the deck you are building. Have you ordered the lumber for the deck you are building? Lumber. The verb lumber, this is something you do. To lumber is to move in a clumsy or heavy way. The old dog lumbered toward me, to move in a clumsy or heavy way. Next, it's mimic. Mimic has two verb meanings and a noun meaning. The first verb, mimic, to mimic is to copy or imitate closely. The parrot fascinated us because it could mimic human speech so well. A parrot is a talking bird. So a parrot can mimic human speech, to copy or imitate closely. I had a bird that could mimic. It was bugger. The second meaning for the word mimic, the verb meaning, is to make fun of by imitating. Mimic. So this is in a bad way, to make fun of someone. If someone has a limp, your friend has a limp, and you walk in the same way, you mimic them, not to make them feel better, to make fun of them, right? So that's a bad way. I got upset when you mimicked my friend's singing. The noun meaning for mimic is the name of one who can imitate sound, speech, or actions. So someone who can very closely imitate sounds, speech, or actions, they are a mimic. We call them mimic. A mimic. A good mimic carefully studies the person being imitated. So sometimes actors in movies mimic real people who lived in real life, you know. See, these people mimic their dogs' faces. It's quite funny. Great, mimic. Now, can you try to mimic my movements? Great. You copy it closely. You mimic it. Next, it's significant. Significant. Here we go. Significant has an adjective meaning. We use the word significant to describe things which are important, full of meaning. July 4, 1776 is a significant date in American history. A very significant date. A date that is very important. Significance, that's a different form of the word. Significance is a noun. It's the name of the quality of being important or of giving meaning. The significance of the Bill of Rights is that it spells out important freedoms that should be enjoyed by all Americans. The important thing about something is the significance. The significance of a college degree is that you can get a very good job. Now, what is very significant to you? Give me a date. What is the most significant day of the year to you? To a lot of people, the 1st of January, New Year's, that is a very significant day for people. Very important. It's a day with significance. For Christians, 25 December is a very significant day because it's Christmas. Next, it's soar. Soar has two verb meanings. First, soar is to fly high in the sky. An eagle can soar in the sky, fly high. We watched the eagles soar until they were just specks in the sky, so very high. The second verb meaning for soar is to rise suddenly and rapidly. That means quickly. So if something goes up very quickly and suddenly, it soars. The cost of college education is expected to soar during the next few years, is to go up very high and rapidly. So the cost of something can soar. The cost of a new car, the costs of new cars soars recently. Next, it's spectator. Spectator. Spectator is the name of a person who watches an activity, an onlooker. Onlooker is a synonym for spectator. It's a word with a similar meaning. The spectators jostled each other as they rushed onto the field at the end of the game. This boy is a football spectator. He's an onlooker of football. I like spectator sports. Sports where people like to go to watch. Rugby, soccer, cricket, those are spectator sports. Have you ever been a spectator to a sport? What sport was it? I was a spectator at the soccer game or basketball game. Next, it's suspend. Suspend has 3 verb meanings. The first meaning for suspend, to suspend is to hang while attached to something above. The hammock was suspended from the porch ceiling. So this is a hammock, and it is suspended from these 2 poles. It hangs while attached to something above. The light is suspended to the roof, but only if it hangs. Like a chandelier can be suspended from the roof. The second verb meaning for suspend is to stop for a while before going on. The subway suspended its main route for 2 days while the track was repaired. So it was stopped before going on, suspended. The bus route was suspended until the bus was fixed, or something like that. Our classes were suspended until the teacher got healthy again. So the classes were stopped for a short time before going on. The third meaning for suspend is to bar from working, attending, or taking part for a while. So you can get suspended from school. To be barred from is to be forbidden from. To bar from working, attending, or taking part for a while. The students caught cheating were suspended from school for 1 week. If you get in a fight at school or you get caught cheating, you can get suspended by the principal for 1 or 2 weeks. You're barred from coming to school. Or if that happens at your job, you can be suspended too. Next, it's terminate. Terminate has a verb meaning. This is quite similar to suspend in a way. Terminate means to bring or to come to an end. It will not begin again. To terminate. Heavy rain terminated the tennis match after only 10 minutes of play. Heavy rain terminated the tennis match. But did it terminate this football match? No, it did not terminate the football or soccer match. Terminate, to end, to bring to an end. Terminate. Have you seen the movie Terminator? Why do you think he's called Terminator? Because he ends his enemies. And the final word, unwieldy. Unwieldy. If something is unwieldy, it is hard to handle or control because of large size or heaviness. The sofa was so unwieldy that getting it up 3 flights of stairs was a real challenge. So if something is hard to handle or control because of its large size or heaviness. It's unwieldy, like a sofa. To carry is unwieldy. Give me one example of something that is unwieldy. Your big bags are so unwieldy, it was very difficult to carry it all the way home. Unwieldy. Great. And friends, that's it for day 1 of lesson 9. Well done, and thanks for joining me to start this lesson. Remember to join me next in day 2. For day 2, bring your word list 9 as well as activity 9A. We'll take on that activity in day 2. And that's it, friends. Until tomorrow or day 2, take care, and I'll see you then. Goodbye for now. Bye.